Toxic workplaces that deal with either toxic employees or have a general toxic culture is something that most of us have dealt with at some point in our careers. But right now, they are getting called out more and more often as managers and HR professionals are more concerned about them now than ever. So let's take a quick look at how we can address and ideally resolve a toxic work environment. Now, first thing that I should state is that a toxic workplace is extremely complex and very difficult to completely repair. They take time, documentation, commitment, and intention to truly resolve them. I do think that every toxic workplace can be resolved without cleaning house. However, that's only possible if a long-term commitment and follow-through are present and people are willing to do what it takes to really address them. So let's look at how to deal with the toxic work environment. First, you need to identify the root of the problem. Is it a toxic employee or is it a toxic culture? Now, this can be a little hard to differentiate. Often, toxic employees are where it starts. A person or small group poisons the environment, which begins to spread to everyone. Toxic employees are a person or group who are actively trying to eliminate harmony and equity in the workplace. Make no mistake, what they are doing is intentional. Not that they're trying to be toxic, but they're trying to dismantle harmony or equity, whether consciously or unconsciously, as a way to protect or validate themselves. This might be because they are trying to protect their specific power, hold on to small authority or privileges that they have or think they have, or they're projecting their own fears and anxiety onto others to make themselves feel better. Whatever the reason is, identifying toxic employees is very important as a first step. Now, a smart way to do that is something that I'm going to get to in a minute. But let's move on to what creates a toxic culture. Now, these evolve slowly and are often sparked by an unwelcome organizational change. For example, I've seen toxic cultures develop as a result of new leadership. A new boss or CEO starts making changes that go against the grain of the existing organizational culture. Usually this happens when freedoms or resources are taken away. Like if the old CEO was a big supporter of work from home and flex time, and the replacement claws back those freedoms and starts to really ramp up oversight and supervision. This kind of situation has a very predictable reaction. In most cases, people start to turn on each other, often rather quickly. People can start policing each other, reporting their coworkers who find a workaround, or calling out favoritism at every situation that appears unequal. Now, once you have an idea what the catalyst is for the toxic environment, the next thing that you can do is to try to incorporate change to resolve it. If there is a person or group who are overtly the cause, whether they are bullying, discriminating, intimidating, or mentally or emotionally abusing other employees, they need to be dealt with through progressive discipline. Now, in a unionized environment, this can be a little more challenging, but clearly and intentionally acknowledging the issues and officially identifying the behavior as toxic, discriminatory, or abusive is how everything needs to start. Now, when you are dealing with a culture or environment, or the specific catalyst is hard to identify, then the best thing that you can do is to start to incorporate two vital workplace strategies. Number one, removing job dissatisfaction, and number two, incorporating psychological safety. Now, removing job dissatisfaction can have a huge impact on the workplace. There are a lot of steps to do this, but they are surprisingly clear and practical. If you'd like to learn more about job dissatisfaction, here's another video that digs into that. But for now, A big part of removing dissatisfaction is to create a workplace that is competitive with other jobs in your area or sector, sufficient in providing people what they need, and most importantly, make sure that the workplace is fair and equitable. Now, there's something called the 7x3 rule that can be your framework to make this a reality in your workplace. Here's a video that digs into that. So in addition to removing job dissatisfaction, you need to create psychological safety. This is about creating the environment where all employees can speak up, share their ideas, and know that they can speak their mind without it damaging the reputation or relationships. This allows people to confidently report harassment, tell their managers what they require to be successful, pitch their ideas, and be open to feedback. Now, we have another video on psychological safety. You can access it here. Plus, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel and stay up to date with us. Now, let's get back to what I was saying before about identifying the less obvious employees that are contributing to a toxic culture. It's actually quite simple. They will most likely reveal themselves when you start removing job dissatisfaction and incorporating psychological safety. When you have people trying to push back on efforts to make things more equitable and to make it easier for staff to share their thoughts and ideas, those people are likely contributing to the problems you're having. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who is slow to change or who has issues with something new being implemented is a toxic employee, but the people who are putting up roadblocks, only providing lip service to issues, or who are actively trying to hold on to the status quo, those are the actions of people who are not wanting the toxic culture that they helped create go away. Dealing with a toxic workplace is not a simple or easy process. It takes real work, a lot of support from leadership, and a willingness to stick to it for the long haul. But it can be the only way to take a company on the verge of imploding and put it back on track, which is especially important in today's war for talent. Removing job dissatisfaction and incorporating psychological safety are going to be the key for every organization. And you need to be ready to discipline or terminate some people along the way for the greater good. Until next time.